Hey Yoke, what is cracking with the Army and the Chico Barracks? But if you're new around these parts, you're just a viewer of the tube. My name is Tyler and welcome to the crypto channel that won't trick you when it's time to serve you up some content, unlike this cat owner.
You want to eat? No, it's not time. You just ate.
Don't you be sad, because it's time for Chico Crypto. DeFi, decentralized finance, the buzzword of the bull run. Crypto tokens which cater to this blossoming sector are the ones pulling a majority of the crypto gains. I've seen it, I'm sure you've seen it. But just like I called DeFi popping off the next bull run long before it happened, I would like to make another prediction of the sectors which will secure the next wave of gains and continue the DeFi run, as each sector pushes decentralized finance into its next more evolved form, which means it's usable by millions of people and integrates with the non-blockchain world. So to begin, let's just get it out there. The two sectors I believe are going to secure eyes of people far and wide include scaling solutions, layer 2, and NFTs, non-fungible tokens. If you watched my video on Friday, I went over the Reddit scaling bake-off, which included many of these scaling coins and solutions. My prediction pick for the winner, it's XDAI and their stable chain. And that leads me right into something. Like I said, this is what evolves DeFi into its next, more advanced form. Scaling DeFi and thus Ethereum is the biggest issue I see in the markets. And some projects know this and are already building on a scaling solution with some ready to launch. One I'm getting excited for is PowerPool, as they are building the layer 2 fast and scalable DeFi pooling governance protocol. Their token, the PowerPool CVP token, is a meta DeFi governance token, which means it pools and integrates the power and varying governance mechanisms of various protocols into one ecosystem, like Compound, Maker, Synthetics, Aave, Compound, Acropolis, Wi-Fi, and Balancer. The CVP token's most essential function is to define how to use the utility functions and voting powers of those tokens accumulated in the power pools. You can almost think of it as the Compound of governance tokens, as if you go to their alpha, which is in test mode right now, it's a place to borrow, lend, and thus pool your governance tokens. But as you can see, by default, it takes us to a certain blockchain, the XDAI stable chain. Now, if we click into other networks they are building with, we can see it's two. Of course, Ethereum, but also Matic, the number 2 runner-up I had for the Reddit scaling competition. But if we go back in time, the PowerPool team had an AMA just 2 weeks ago, August 17th. They were asked, why not choose XDAI or any other network? They responded, that's a good question. Matic is the perfect network for the start, very similar to Ethereum. Its capitalization is 5 to 7 times bigger than XDAI, good amount of support from their side. PowerPool is a community-driven project. If our community votes to migrate to any other sidechain in the future, it wouldn't be a problem. So they were going fully with Matic back then, as just 3 days before this, August 14th, a partnership announcement was made between the two. But August 26th, just 6 days ago, they put out this article explaining the future of PowerPool and the long-term vision. In it, they said this: our vision for tech implementation of the protocol serving as a meta governance level for the ecosystem is the following. The protocol will operate on a set of networks, Ethereum mainnet, XDAI, Matic, Binance Chain, offering services for different target groups of customers. For example, Matic and XDAI were chosen to solve the gas problem for the minority token holders, which are one of our target groups of users. So XDAI is now in the mix, when just 2.5 weeks ago it wasn't, and was only Matic they were using. And lower in the article, they said this about the beta test round. In the coming days, we will launch the beta round of the testnet. During the beta round, all basic protocol functions will be tested by 100 selected participants in the XDAI chain. So from alpha to beta, it's being tested with XDAI, which is further reinforced from their beta testing article. It says, the task for beta testers will be to examine our protocol that has been launched on top of XDAI's second layer network, using real ERC20 tokens from the Ethereum mainnet, which includes testing of the mediator smart contracts, their parameters, and the UI UX for transferring tokens between the Ethereum mainnet and XDAI network. And then just last Friday, the PowerPool Twitter retweeted this: XDAI working its magic with @PowerPoolCVP, which was someone retweeting their tweet. What was PowerPool's tweet? It was about the performance of their test on XDAI. PowerPool said, crazy gas costs? Never heard of that PowerPool Layer 2 DeFi. 50 testers saved about $2,500. How much will 100K users save? And they ended it with 2 steps away from the mainnet. So CVP, the token of PowerPool, is Layer 2 DeFi, and that layer is being fully tested and prepared for the mainnet, and it's being prepared on the XDAI stable chain. And projects far and wide are looking to XDAI for help, and that actually leads me into the next sector, NFTs. Now, the gaming sector is where you think of NFTs first, right? Gaming collectibles, wearables, skins, and more. Well, one of the leaders in the virtual gaming space, Crypto Voxels, tweeted this on August 22nd. Hey fam, our wearables are trapped on the mainnet due to extreme gas situation. Please send help. Can someone magic us up a XDAI gateway where we can send lots of wearables, e.g. 30 issues of wearables, to the XDAI network with 1 Ethereum transaction? So nice to see that in the gaming and virtual land sector, but NFTs are not going to be limited to items in the digital world. They will become digital representations of physical items too. Now, before I get into all this, I need you guys to realize something. Just like when I called DeFi being the next bubbling buzzword which will surge the markets next, it took about a year for the markets to catch on and for it to happen. I don't see it taking nearly as long with NFTs, but we are still some time out. Now, I brought up a project who is on the forefront of all of this in a scalable form with full Ethereum compatibility. And that is Luxo from Fabian Vogelsteller, the creator of the ERC20 token standard, which really kicked off this whole DeFi run. His project is attempting to bridge the gap of NFTs and physical items with a custom scalable blockchain and robust application layer, which allows funding of creator projects, tracing of creator items, management of those items, ownership of both physical and digital items, and thus collecting apps, participating in apps, share apps, trade apps, and co-creation of applications. Now we are focusing on the bridge of physical items into the NFT digital world, and diving into Luxo's white paper, they call this phygital ownership. From the white paper, we achieve unique authentication through passive NFC chips that are implanted or sewn into products. And guess what? These are built and out in the wild as we speak, and actually being implemented. So at Berlin Fashion Week, Luxo showed off one of the first t-shirts with an entire batch of technology baked in and then some. Berlin Fashion Week covered it in an article titled, Luxo brings phygital t-shirts to Berlin Fashion Week. The article states, redefinition, thanks to blockchain. The Okonomi t-shirt collection, limited to 50 items, is also absolutely forgery proof thanks to blockchain. This is made possible by RFID chips based on cryptographic processes with which they can be authenticated. So Berlin Fashion Week covering it, it's a great sign, but seeing it put out in the wild by multiple models being introduced to blockchain for the first time is an even better sign. Now you notice how the shirt is glowing and all that? Well, that is because the shirts also implemented AR, where different designs are seen when looking through a phone's camera. Now, the thing I would like to point out is Luxo's Blockchain Explorer. For their L14 testnet, does it look similar to someone else's like XDAI's? That is because it's from BlockScout, aka XDAI and the POA team. Now, if we go to the Luxo frequently asked question on their consensus algorithm, they say this. Luxo is planned to use a Honey Badger Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus algorithm with a delegated proof-of-stake consensus running in smart contracts, POS DAO. Does that sound similar to someone? Well, XDAI created the POS DAO algorithm. The white paper written by the team is on the XDAI Gitbook, and it says XDAI will transition to public POS DAO in the coming months, where community members can become validator candidates, as well as delegate stake to candidates and validators. What about Honey Badger BFT? Well, XDAI is actually working on that too. As we can see, it's also listed on their Gitbook, and they say say, the XDAI team is currently working on a working implementation of Honey Badger BFT consensus. This may be implemented on the XDAI chain determined through the governance process and explored in phase 3 of the POS-DAO staking roadmap. So obviously the two are connected on a level that goes deeper than what you see on the surface, which if you go to their roadmap, the last thing they have listed is the phase 3 of POS-DAO, with a target date launch of Q2 of 2021. And as we can see, they say this: a chain created specifically to lever POS-DAO, Honey Badger BFT, and multi-collateral DAI. This network will be designed from the ground up with our collaborative partners Luxo and Artis to leverage stake tokens and HBBFT consensus. So, leverage XDAI's stake tokens, Luxo and Artis. What exactly does that mean? Well, it goes back to XDAI's feature of multi-chain staking, which means XDAI's stake token can be used to secure and earn rewards for any sidechain under POS-DAO, like Luxo, and it can be used on other blockchains right now, so you can stake on Ethereum. Igor of the team said this back in June of this year. You are right, staking tokens is intended to be used on sidechains with POS-DAO for horizontal scalability, but practically it can be staked on networks with other consensuses too. Example, a work in progress for staking on Ethereum. And that WIP work in progress is complete. You can stake your stake right now on Ethereum, and it's called Easy Staking. It's built and it's on the mainnet. All you have to do is connect to the staking application. Link is in the description. Have some XDAI stake and Ethereum in your wallet for fees, and you're good to go. Once connected to stake, just enter the amount you want to commit. We will be doing 100. Click deposit. Wait for the transaction to confirm. Once confirmed, you will see your stake on the dashboard and can dive into the details of it, including real updates of your rewards accrued. And you have the option for free scheduled withdrawals or instant withdrawals from staking with fees. So what are you gonna do? Well, just like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, stake it up, baby, now. Stake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.